worth it? Maybe when you go home, I don't wanna be here trying to think about it. Is it worth it?
Oh yeah, welcome, 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 welcome. Resident Idiot here. Welcome to the world of Dragon Quest. We're soloing, but today that doesn't matter because this is another event that I'm doing. We're doing the Phantom Sea. Wonderful event where you just collect shit. And it's great, and you get rides, and you dodge, and little mini game card. I forgot to show this off back in the time when it was running. So now we're like fucking months afterward the event even shipped. I'll show you some of the wonderful gadgets and goofs I get from it later on. But essentially, I'm just putting this on in the background because I have something to talk about, something random. And I'll probably upload this at a different time, maybe a little bit earlier than the other parts in the playthrough because I just felt like getting this out there. I have a little idea, a little concept that I thought of on my morning walk today. That is most likely the title of this video. But this is in general the main reason why I'm not like the biggest fan, I'd say, of the opposite sex. And it's not what you think. So let's get into this. Basically, I just so happen to be a little African American individual, black guy. General. We all know them, we all see them, we all have them in our lives, maybe, probably not, who knows. But I think, and this is just my opinion, this is my theory, my game theory here, that black men, specifically black men, are the women of society, of male society. You know what I'm saying? Like black guys are just in general treated like every woman to other guys in the male society specifically. And I'll get into why I believe that. I'll get into why this even matters in the first place. First of all, though, because the thing about, the general acts and things we portray, in life is that it could always be a different perspective, be viewed in different ways, you know what I'm saying? Different ways, different plays. And, in general, why it matters is that people view us in these different feminine light is that generally dictates where you have the easiest of access. Which doors are already open because in this current life, for any kind of minority, at least in America, you do have pretty much equal opportunities for everyone else. At least in my general, I don't know, experience. But that's also just because I also identify as an attractive black man. Mostly because I've been tall most of my life. I think people appreciate that. It's one of those things where it's just I've always had it, so I can't really appreciate it as much as other people. Kind of like having a car for me, It's like something that's just like a tool to me. But to someone who's always had a car, when you get one or when you have one, you're not going to be like, oh, yes, it's so good. Everybody loves me because I have this car and I just value it so much. You always had it. So, try to view it. But a lot of things, if you look at it like this, inherently make you even more attractive, which is funny when you think about that. Just the general unknowing of your power. Or, quote unquote unknowing of your power. Because I feel like we all have a general sense that we are, we have God in us. We have that free will. We all know our will. We've felt it before at one point. But when you have this general aura of I have the power, but I don't need to show it. I don't need to perform it. It's just kind of there, and I don't care if you acknowledge it or not. I have that sort of air about me at all times. Because good parents will instill this on you that you have value, and of course I did have those. I did have a good network of peers, people to sort of guide me a little bit. But in general, I noticed that a lot of people in my situation don't have that. So The reason why I'm getting into this subject now and was now we're thick in the gameplay. Oh yeah, baby. Um, the reason why I think this that black people are the women of society is because this small factor of the nepotism, of beauty, of height, attractiveness, it's all multiplied as a black guy. It's all multiplied. And I would say, yeah, as a girl, if you're hot or attractive, kind of in the same way, you're given a lot for doing very, very little. And yeah, I've gotten that same kind of treatment of just like, why are you being so nice to me? Why are you giving me an award for, you know, something that a white guy would just do regularly? And nobody would be like, oh, some other guy's just doing some regular shit. Did I do it? I get an award, you know? It's like what we've seen in Japan. You know, the Nigerian guy who returned a wallet very recently. I think he got a Nobel Peace Prize or something ridiculous like that. And this is not just one nationality or race or what. If you have melanin complexion in your tone, and you don't speak like an idiot, and you don't do idiotic things, be prepared to be coddled and get 8,000 participation trophies and tons of unfounded recognition. You know, somebody might just do applause for you randomly in public. I'm not even fucking joking with you guys. I'm not. I wish I was. But you see, the reason why the world is set up like this is what I call reverse racism, which in general is just racism. It's just racism. And it's so sad that we have to feel like we have to act this way in order to just, I don't know, feel like we have some sort of moral code or values to ourselves. You know, like we are actually good people. Like, you know, it doesn't really matter if you're a good person. Actually has no bearing on if you have fun in your life or, you know, where you're going in the afterlife. We even think there's an afterlife. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. That's like, when you're playing video games online with someone and then, and, you know, someone's naked, but like, do you care? Do you care? You're not talking to them. You may be typing in the chat with them, but like, let's be real, guys. If one of the guys you were playing League with in a random solo queue was naked, you would not care, and that's what being good does for you. And so, a lot of people put this state on people that they have no idea about, that they don't observe at all, like they don't observe anything about them. They don't look at how they dress, how they're acting, how their voice sounds, how fast they're moving, how slow they're moving, where their eyes are going, how their face looks, how tall they are, how imposing they are. They don't look at any of these factors. They look at the skin color, and they make an observation. And the error with that is that it's really, really, really unmalleable most times. And that's the thing with girls, with women. A lot of us make hairpin judgments right then, right when we see them. It's like, oh yeah, that's good. Or, oh yeah, that's bad. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you guys. And this is one of my flaws that I intend to obviously work on. But generally, when I think this way about women, when I have like a strict like idea of how they are, usually doesn't fucking change. Usually I wait for the new information to come along. And yeah, sometimes it comes along and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that about this person. Very often it doesn't. And intuition is correct. And that's the problem with life, man. We take way too many shortcuts. We take way too many shortcuts until, you know, we forget what the long way even is. And so these intellectual shortcuts that we think are actually helping us and making us, you know, go through life at a faster rate, they're actually actively harming us. Because obviously not every girl is going to be set up in the same way. You know, they may all portray the same thing on the outside. But yeah, we're not all set up the same way. And the problem with society is that for general men out there, we all have to come off in the same kind of way in order to be undetectable by society or not cause a disruption. And the way I feel we are very, very similar is just the fact that everything is put on a magnifying glass for women and for black men. Everything you do is times 3. They multiply it. They enhance it, whether it be good or bad. And I see this in both communities, equivalent to some horrible shit. It just automatically warps people's brains into believing, that things matter way more than they do. And I'm not saying nothing matters. I'm saying we have a choice to make whatever matter that we want. We have a choice of what matters to us. And we have a choice as far as how long we'll let that shit matter. We'll let that shit, bother us. Because any moment can be distilled into just that, just the moment. When I hit 50 subscribers, it will be one moment. Now, I can extend that moment by keeping on thinking about it and keeping it at the forefront of my mind. And holding on to every subscriber after that, I can make that my entire rest of my life that I have 50 subscribers. I can do that. That's a possibility for me. But if I just leave it there, it could just be 1 second. And then conversely, if I trip and fall and break my glasses, that could be my entire fucking week. And I could just think, like, every time I can't see, I'm like, fuck those glasses. Fuck, I shouldn't have done this. I should have done this like this. I should have done this. And I could just ruminate over it. And I could just think I'm such an idiot. And I could just stay in this negative space for a very long time. Or, conversely, I could go through the moment. I could get sad. I could learn how I'm going to get a new pair of glasses. And then move on. Whether I get them then or get them later, I could just move on. I have the choice. And we all have the choice. The problem is we choose to be worried, stressed, vibed out over bullshit that we cannot fix at the present moment. I'm not saying don't worry about this shit. I'm not saying forget about everything that doesn't matter right now. I'm saying there's a time and a place, man. There's a time and a place, and oftentimes the God within us is not leading us to do these horrible self-deprecating things to ourselves. It's us. It's us. The God within us is quiet. They are silent, just like most good people in life. They are quiet. They are silent. Because you know what? They've made what they need to say known. And the problem with a lot of black men and women is this silence is not fed off of in society. But it is what you're supposed to do. It is what they want. Well, not what they want you to do, but what God wants you to do. It wants you to sort of just stand on what you know and move forward. Nothing more to it. But society feeds off of that chaos. It feeds off of you reacting and crashing out. Like, sure, everybody looks at you with a ×3 magnifying glass. That doesn't mean you have to do ×3 shit. It doesn't mean you have to crash out every time, someone stops their car and looks at you a weird way. It doesn't mean you have to crash out every time somebody, cat calls you on the street. It doesn't mean you have to crash out every time somebody accuses you of stealing. Every time somebody says that you're like a horrible, horrible friend. Every time somebody says you don't pay attention to me or something. Because as women, as beautiful black men, as the lovers of life, as the people who show people how blind they are to their own love, who shows people how they are lying to themselves. Because that's what real beauty does, That's why people hate beautiful people. Like, why would you hate someone that's so fun to look at? Oh, it's because it reminds you that the only reason you're not this beautiful is because of yourself. And a lot of people can't take that truth. Like I'm so confident that everybody in the world could be a beautiful and vibrant person if they wanted to and if they had the right setup of environment, right social stigmas, Because I've had this sensation, I'm a very physical guy when it comes to attraction, but I've had this sensation where I found someone who wasn't very attractive, but then I made friends with them, and then slowly they became attracted to me, maybe even sexually attractive to me. And because of that, I decided, man, maybe this whole, gender thing, the whole pray away the gay thing and Christianity, maybe it's not really for me. Maybe relationships in general just aren't for me because the whole possessiveness of this, I've noticed, it gets really, really intense the more attractive and detached you are. And I've never been so attached to someone that I was afraid that I would lose them. And it's probably because I haven't found myself yet. I'm still looking. I'm still looking. You think I understand this bullshit that I'm spewing out my mouth? No, man. That's why I record it. That's why I record it. Because I still don't get it. And I think that's the same with a lot of beautiful women. That's the same with a lot of women, beautiful or not, actually. I wonder if it's the same for black guys. I feel like they just kind of follow the gang, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think we're similar in a lot of ways. I think a lot of black guys don't want to admit this. But I see the congruencies. And I think we can take pages out of their book. They can take pages out of our book. But definitely not going to solve this problem in a one-to-one kind of way. Of course not. That's not what I'm here to to give you a solution for. But hopefully I shed some light on something that you may have had in your head for a little bit. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Subscribe. And I'll see you next time. I gotta log out, man.
Is it worth it?